Hey, greetings everyone. Glenn Kellaway from the basement. Notice anything different? I switched things up behind me there. That poster came in Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits album, and I see it online, like people trying to sell the original poster for $100, $200. I was in a used record store one day and I saw Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits, and I thought, I don't have that in vinyl. I open it up and it's got the poster in it, and it's $15. So I'm not sure if it's a reissue or whatever, but I mean the poster's the poster. Why would I pay $200 for if it's an original poster? It's versus the reprint or whatever, if that's what it is. I don't even know. So anyway, I thought I'd switch things up a bit. Today I just want to show some random records, talk about some artists that I don't talk about, records that I haven't listened to for a long time. Some cool stuff, I think. I'm a big Uriah Heep fan. And Ken Hensley, keyboard player, had a solo career. And there's actually a box set of all his stuff. I think eventually he became a born-again Christian, and some of the box set is kind of spiritual, but the early stuff is cool. And I always love this is his first solo album, and I always love the title of this album, Proud Words on a Dusty Shelf. This is an album I really loved when it came out in the 70s. And what's this? I don't know, whoever owned it before me wrote out a nice little blurb on it. It says, "This is the solo debut of Uriah Heep's resident keyboardist and top songwriter, but it isn't the heavy metal epic one might expect. In fact, Proud Words on a Dusty Shelf uses electric guitar sparingly, instead goes for a moody soundscape built on acoustic guitar and piano. Sounds like Black-Hearted Lady and The Last Time, even evoke a bit of a country and western feel, thanks to the use of mellow-sounding slide guitar. This subtle sonic style puts Hensley's songwriting in the spotlight, and that is a good thing because each of the songs is well crafted and tuneful. The album subtly also highlights the strength of Ken Hensley's vocals, which often sound close to his Uriah Heep bandmate David Byron. The album's subtlety also highlights the strength of Ken Hensley's, well, he wrote that twice. Gary Thayne is on bass on a few tracks. Then a little bio on Ken Hensley. Born in 1945, English singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, producer, best known for his work with Uriah Heep during the 70s. So anyway, that's all in there. And it is a really good album. If you're a Uriah Heep fan, it certainly doesn't sound like Uriah Heep, but man, it's really solid all the way through. I'm a big fan. There's the vinyl here on the Mercury label. I had a really hard time finding this. I was looking for it for the longest time, and then once I found it, it seems like every time I go to a used record store, I see it now. It's weird. So that's my first one. Next, a band I used to frickin' love back in the 70s. I was into Southern rock, but these guys were a bit more than Southern rock. Marshall Tucker Band. This was my favorite Marshall Tucker album, Searching for a Rainbow. It's got the song Fire on the Mountain on it, which I love, and Can't You See is a great song. The thing about Marshall Tucker was they weren't just like a Southern rock band, heavy, dual guitars and all that stuff. They had like flutes and saxes. It was Jerry Eubanks who was really made the difference in that band, playing wind instruments. And so they added a bit of a jazz feel. They added some rock, some country. It was a really, really an interesting band. They were musically really interesting. Great vocals from Doug Gray. And this is a freaking great record. I haven't listened to Marshall Tucker for a long time, but I found these on the shelf. This was another one. This is Marshall Tucker Band. Where We All Belong, it was called. Love that cover, that pencil drawing on the front. This is on Capricorn Records. That's the label they were on, same as the Allman Brothers. And this is a live album for the most part, and the live songs are frickin' scorching blues songs. They do Every Day I Have the Blues. Yeah, just like a really, really, if you see this in your travels, grab it. Really excellent, excellent album. Next, here is, I loved this female vocalist and this keyboard player when they got together, Brian Auger and Julie Driscoll. In the late 60s, they got together. They were also, she was in a band called Steam Packet. I believe Rod Stewart was associated with that band. I think Elton John, all these people, they all kind of, Long John Baldry, they all kind of came out of that same little cliquey group of people. Anyway, Julie Driscoll and Brian Auger got together, and went back in the late 60s when underground radio was on. They got a lot of airplay with a couple of tracks that were on this album. Season of the Witch, great cover of Donovan's song, and the other one was I guess it's not on here, but they did a version of David Eccles, I think his name was, the song called Last Train to Cairo. It's a great version of that. She had a great bluesy rock voice. That's Jules there, Julie Driscoll. So one side's called Jules, the other side's called Auger and Open, and the album's called Open. Great, great record. Real 60s rock, blues, whatever. Said if you're interested in checking out a song, listen to their version of Season of the Witch. It's absolutely incredible. They do this on Tramp. Why Am I Treated So Bad? Very soulful. Just a great, great album. It was on the Marmalade label. This album, I see it all over the place, everywhere. Like, if you see it used, pick it up. I guarantee, if you like 60s music, you'll frickin' love it. Jazz. I got into jazz through my love of bluegrass. It was the kind of the Young Turks of bluegrass in the 70s, the Bela Flecks, the David Grismans, guys like that who were really branching out. They were, bluegrass was great, but they kind of started adding jazz to it, and then they started playing jazz tunes. And David Grisman put a band together, a quintet, and it included the amazing Stephane Grappelli, who's, one of the great jazz violinists, maybe the greatest jazz violinist in history. Apologies to Jean-Luc Ponty. Anyway, they put this band together. And this is the live album. Stephane Grappelli, David Grisman live, fantastic acoustic jazz. They do a song called Shine on here, which is a great up-tempo piece. Sonny Rollins' song called Pent Up House. Misty, an instrumental version of Misty, which Johnny Mathis had a big hit for. I know my friend Randy Nelson will be very impressed that I know something about crooner music. They, Sweet Georgia Brown, killer version of Sweet Georgia Brown. They do a version of Satin Doll, the classic Duke Ellington song. Swing 42, which was a Django Reinhardt song. Tiger Rag, which was like a Dixieland song. Just a great band and fantastic record. If you see this in your travels and you just want to explore some different jazz or try and get into jazz acoustically, highly recommend that album. Next, what's all on the list here? This band was the Rolling Stones, right around the time the Rolling Stones were the Rolling Stones, the Pretty Things. They actually played in a band with the Rolling Stones, a couple of them, and then they kind of all split up. The Stones went the Stones' way, Pretty Things went their way, and they never achieved the notoriety that the Stones did and should have. This was their debut album, The Pretty Things. If you like early Stones, you'll freaking love this. This is on a Norton label. I'm not sure. It says on it, Play Loud on the label. Great record. They do Roadrunner on here. Mama, Keep Your Big Mouth Shut, which is, I think, is a song I heard from Dr. Feelgood originally. Yeah, it's just a freaking awesome record. All their records are great. They put out an album in 1969 or 70 called Parachute, which was recorded at Abbey Road Studios, which really is kind of Beatle-y in a way, so if you're interested in that aspect. They also actually released the first rock opera before Tommy called P.F. Sorrow, so check out that too. Pretty Things. What's next? A couple more. Steve Winwood. I love Steve Winwood. Man, 16 years old. Like, he was singing like Ray Charles and blowing everybody away. Spencer Davis. He went to Traffic, Blind Faith, his own, established himself as a great solo artist. Played with Jimi Hendrix, Clapton, you name it. The guy's amazing. A few years ago, they put out this album called Greatest Hits Live. It's a sparse band. It's just guitar, keyboards, bass, and drums, basically, and just a fantastic record. This is a 4-album set, which can be had at a pretty good price, and he does all the Traffic songs. I'm a Man from Spencer Davis, Dear Mr. Fantasy's on here, Can't Find My Way Home's on here, and Had to Cry Today. He does John Barleycorn, Medicated Goo, and from and Glad and whatever else, Traffic. He does his own great songs, Arc of a Diver, Freedom Overspill, Roll With It. If you see a chance, you take it. I highly recommend this album, and it sounds frigging incredible. Really great sounding album. Highly recommend that. Last but not least, I never see anybody show this record, and I can't understand why it hasn't been reissued. The Concert for Bangladesh, one of the most historic concerts of all time. Great record. Oh, it's got a bit of a spot on it back there. Let's open this baby up. Be very gentle. Came with a wonderful book that showed just a bunch of stuff about the history of Bangladesh and what's going on there. And then all kinds of pictures and stuff. There's a lineup if anybody wants to see what's going on in the band. I hope you can read that. Great performances. I mean, George backed up from the guys from Badfinger and Ringo Starr and Billy Preston. And Leon Russell and Eric Clapton. I mean, what an all-star band. And then they bring Bob Dylan out, and he sings Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, It Takes a Lot to Laugh, Takes a Train to Cry, Blowin' in the Wind, Mr. Tambourine Man, and the most incredible version of Just Like a Woman with Leon and George singing harmony on the chorus. Oh my God. Just one of the great performances ever. Ravi Shankar opened the show. I mean, how can this not get a reissue? How can it not? 3-album set, came in like brown paper bags, and there's the album things. But man, if you don't have Bangladesh or you've never heard of it, there is a concert video, I'm sure, somewhere. I haven't seen it for years. You might be able to catch some of the performances on YouTube, but yeah, check that out. Anyway, so that is it for now. We'll be back later with another video. Thumbs, please subscribe. Talk later.